Alright, hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Tonight we're going to continue where we left off, and that's case 2. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Is that the Titanic?
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Ooh, a speckled band as in a snake. Interesting. 9th of January, 6:37 a.m. On board the steamship Buria.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder, and it can be locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume
Sherlock
you must have
Sholmes.
heard of me.
Wait, does that mean the Dr. Wilson was actually Watson that was murdered? Oh dear. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait a minute, I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? Not a boat? So we wake up now. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I don't believe I could not wake up. You must be a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Oh, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding that tiny wardrobe? Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes, unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Why'd you do it? Why'd you take his life? Mr. Sato? Wait, what did you say? Take his life. Where is he? Where's Kazuma? I pretend you do not know your wolves in sheep's bed. You are the killer. Don't try to make excuses. Wait, what? Kazuma was... His body was discovered not long ago. Here in this very cabin. It was bolted shut from the inside. Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead, but he can't be. And these handcuffs. Sure, I don't think I have to know, why did you take someone's life? Answer me, please. No. No! Yeah, this game is absolutely not wasting any time into getting us into each case. Kazuma, it was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? We won't get in trouble. Aha! Don't you find it fun being stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? There's really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case on the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone to discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotaba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't think she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. And I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time steward's supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in here, I think. It won't be for long. Compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. I should have known he would be reaching the sea. We'll leave it the next bullet to take a while until then. Don't make trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Die, you said before. It's everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend. No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. I mean, that's what they said 2 weeks ago. Susato, please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Oh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. First things first, Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did. Think I'm Kazuma's killer. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via porthole window, and the bolts on the door cannot be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these 4 walls. Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody who was inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? Well, there's a handful of ways to do that, but none of them would be easily accessible in a ship. something that would take time to kill him, and he would have to have not noticed. So if they did something like a slow-acting poison, he might go into the cabin and lock it, only for him to keel over. But then again, we remember that word that was written before was Russian. But why would Kazuma write in Russian? Because remember, he's Japanese like Rinsuke here is. You're still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, you have to tell me. Susato, you were there in the last case. You of all people should know. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we'll learn more until experts have been consulted at our next port. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you would know the answer better than anyone. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... he would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I do every day have done so far on this voyage, but this morning he did not come. I could sense he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door? I knocked, but there was no reply. I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open when we managed to get inside. There was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I have no idea anything that happened. He must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. I've told everything you know, it's my turn to ask you. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. She probably wants to know about being a stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that is true, yes. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea, but how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asks you, but why? I'm afraid I don't know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such an extreme lengths to smuggle me into England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world, in many ways. And like they said, the sun never sets on that empire. They definitely had, at one point, hard to believe nowadays, but they did at one point own it might be hard to believe nowadays, but at one point they owned almost the majority of the known world. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with their own eyes, can there? Well, then again, it might not be hard to believe. I mean, it's in a lot of history classes, after all. Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazusama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yeah, maybe. Something's still bothering me a little. I have the feeling the truth behind why... Look in his eyes, then. Yeah, I think the truth behind why he wants Ryunosuke to be the lawyer instead of him, or why he wants to work with us, and as well as what reason he was sent out from Japan to England in the first place is going to become a main overarching plot as we do all these other ones. It was darker than I'd ever seen before. Susato-san, I'm sorry we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, actually, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Now, if you're not the culprit, tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't remember. Unfortunately, I won't be able to remember that. Cosme brought me something to eat, just like he always did. Then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yes, actually. So deeply, you didn't even stir when he was killed? Well, yes, evidently. At least that seems to be the case, yeah. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do. It's truth. If only I'd woken up, maybe I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Maybe there's a knockout gas or something. Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you, but the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Well, don't forget, that's precisely what was the case in the last trial. In fact, that was even the entire thing they focused around back when they hid Miss Brett from the proceedings entirely. Cosma, I don't understand. Why? Why'd this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't just leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Cosmo was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do, then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Cosmo's life, and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Judo chop! What the? That was a Susato takedown. A Susato what? What martial arts form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. I'm sorry, prove it. Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to do that? Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in court of law. I see. You should expect me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get her to believe me, so I'll show her some evidence to prove I can't possibly be guilty of the crime. Paper seal. It says keep out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. I'll never forget how Cosmo reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it, so we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Can't find anything out of place.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yes, of course. So the gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign off from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I truly the culprit, I couldn't have possibly climbed back inside the wardrobe and then stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I could have killed him. Well, even if you are sprawled helplessly on the floor, I can see why Cosmo thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? I believe in a normal case this would be sufficient evidence to dismiss him as a suspect, and just continue investigating, but due to the nature, I imagine the plot's going to require someone be held accountable for it. In light of evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Alright, thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. Wait, what? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Now you're stretching it. And yes, I do know this is a world where such things might actually exist, but I don't care. What does she think I am, a magician? So for now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Make sure you do nothing that disturbs a crime scene. I don't want you to use your conjuring to destroy the evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start investigating here. Examine everything I can. Cosmo, I swear, I will avenge your death. What's this say exactly? These are rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burra. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers aboard. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Wait, then how does he have a sword? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. But one thing's for sure, either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Yeah, he is definitely guilty of something, but murder is a much different thing. Oh dear, that won't do. What? What's the matter? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you? I'm sure you're careful to look all around, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of the cabin. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Yeah, and you need to check out the whole thing. I investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Darn, I was hoping maybe this thing here might be a clue, but no. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yeah, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel in the first place. I was brought aboard that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown, at least. Hello, what's this? Well, I should wait to examine that because it... Oh, yeah, what's this? I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate to the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside, shouldn't it? That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in here when the seas are rough or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. We'll have to keep in mind that, because I'm pretty sure this is... Yeah, because putting a gas in here somehow makes sense. These books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some goddess sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf's been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. So the entire boat shifted. I wonder if perhaps it was doing his morning sword training, you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you? Fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Yeah, something caused the whole boat to shift over in this direction. Did Cosmo write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote the message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Cosmo. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruto. Wait, then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Oh, it keeps, whenever I try to click on it, it goes to where my mouse goes. What do you think this is? It's a broken piece of glassware, almost like a bell. Whatever that thing was, it seems to have been broken clear in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. And almost like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Cosmo. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark besides it. What is it, I wonder? A sort of brick-like hue? Yeah, you're right. It's color brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Yes, this is a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. Actually, that's interesting. If Cosmo was under attack, why would he... I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's busy right now since you know a murder just occurred, but my question is... Actually, for that matter, how the crap did not Sherlock Holmes miss the fact that there was a tape over this thing? While a murderer still being in the room at the time, during a locker room mystery makes sense, how could he overlook something as obvious as, well, obviously he's hiding in here, and yet there's a seal on the outside. You can't seal yourself in somewhere like that. Oh, thank you for the subscription, my choo-choo train. I've got a few... Wait, I've got at least one emote you can now use. And yeah, I hope you're having a good time. Alright, in some 2 weeks we set sail from Japan. Have you ever been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruto? I think living isn't quite the right description. No, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. Well, the trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yeah, I did basically have to live in that wardrobe. And last night was no exception. Hope you like it, my choo-choo train. And then thank you again. Alright, because of that, you have no idea what was happening here in the cabin, is that correct? No, sadly not. Now, what's this here say? Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so... Good work. Thank you. I'm glad you like work. Hopefully I can keep up the quality. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though he's stowed away on the ship? Okay, now you're going to bring that up, aren't you? I can't win. His sword. That's Kazusama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. Actually, this does bring out something. If he was attacked, wouldn't he have easily been able to fight back with his katana? I believe he had worked very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Wait, is that chicken bone? Oh, that's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yeah, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat on the floor here? Yeah, I'm not a dog. I ate on the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean Kazuma spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. But this does at least prove that his meal wasn't poisoned, or else we would have been the one poisoned instead. Alright, examine the lock here. When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense up and down my spine. I remember reading once a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the outside of a room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made out of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There'd be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Well, at least eliminating one possibility helps, even if it's not too much. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles on my spine. Alright, let's take a look over here. I do like that it's marking which ones I've already checked, so I know not to repeat. Oh, I haven't checked the desk. This is where our dear Kazuma would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete, which means... what, he was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says, it could be a valuable clue. Hiya! That's out of the question. Wait, what? He may have departed this world, but you will not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Something tells me it's going to turn out to actually be very important or completely irrelevant. Poor Kazuma. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Hey, what? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, looks like he might be European. Oh, you've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here. But he looks suspicious and tall, suspiciously tall. Naruhodo, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. He's investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. In that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato look almost controllably excited? By the way, I expect you've noticed already, but in that case, there's space while there are crosshairs that you can converse with them. Alright, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings. Hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk right now? Just now? I see. Fascinating. I'm sorry. What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything's clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan? Just returned, if I'm not mistaken? Sorry? What? And now, while venturing to foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. Now, I believe that first statement was a reference to when Sherlock Holmes first met Watson, because he first noticed that Watson was a military doctor who had recently been in Afghanistan. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. What? You've 16 victims of assassination and now traveled a year into England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the unknown occupant of the very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that. Summarizes the facts beautifully. No, you die the truth now, and nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, right? Aren't you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims? I don't even see one person who fits this bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma. What? And you're plotting revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way Now explain yourself, tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? Oh, for pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian, obviously. Yeah. They made it pretty obvious that Ryunosuke never left Japan. In fact, he probably even never left his hometown, more or less. Oh, forgive me. As for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came to your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing or torn climbs, do you find yourself in the most troubling predicament? Do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ah, then there you have it, you see? What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder, so I'm not really sure you could call that a deduction. More plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the trifles you see. I announce my findings with rusty certitude, and more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? Very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Pretty sure the real Sherlock Holmes didn't actually have a deer stalker. That was something that was added in later adaptations of the story. Do you know this man, Sato? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he deduced. You'll have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Well, the most obvious thing is converse. Alright, let's ask him about himself first. So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. No, please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine. Full of wonderful short stories and articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England specifically. Ah yes, here it is, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am, and you've read so many of your own stories you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Well, I guess that's obvious. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trustworthy biographer records my greatest detecting achievements, and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't anyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy as of late. Why, at this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved a mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is no science. To me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of muscle, a slight inclination of posture. Well, at least in about 1,000 years, we'll be running into Apollo Justice, who is definitely really good at finding tale reading. Reading people's tales, I mean. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have turned both for observation and deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one only Herlock Sholmes. Alright, regarding Cosmo's death, have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. There's none other than the great detective before you now. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these right now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board, and the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? What were you just investigating? Let's do this first. Before we start talking, you were examining Cosmo's desk, weren't you? Cosmo? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Cosmo's keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. Oh, you mean you've read it already? It's my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susano takedown is. No, she's not. She doesn't feel like it. Susato, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naoto. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as the author was cut short. Tell me, what's the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as the details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, banzai, Mikado. Nado. I trust you are suitably impressed. This diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So that was all. What was all that showing off for, then? It would be kind as to show me. I'd be happy to read it for you, Mr. Sholmes. I'd be much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Where go on? It could be in the boat's whistle, I guess. Second sentence reads 10:35. Looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grail. Oh, the snake. What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall. And we remember, during the investigation phase, we found that this goes to the other room. It doesn't actually go to the top or anything, so it would be extremely easy from the person in the next room, whoever has access to it, to enter the next area. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Cosmo's diary has been entered in the court record. I can present evidence, can't I? Not unless this plot specifically requires me to. Alright, the 2 facts. Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came in the cabin this morning? Yes, but first, let us be precise. 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from mere moment glance at the crime scene were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with the acquaintance. Hold on, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is a Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. This young man, Russian. But we know for a fact he's not. He's Japanese. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderol would be the name of the killer. Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. We found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Are school uniforms in the traditional dress of the Russian people? I have no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim of the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. Thank you. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? Well, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to that truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Oh, certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian? Your deduction. Can we talk about your deduction before, or the things you concluded about me, I mean? I'm sure it's gonna, when he explains it, might actually make some sense, but wrong because, I don't know. Now the famous psychic troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Yes, the more sordid details. That was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosmo a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what he wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary, one who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Villain Bolshevik. No, how could that be me? I don't look anything like the man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you could have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list, need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those peculiars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated so far and those he was plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik has included. There could be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? And what about the part you said I was returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in the war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is that, anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. A little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all this of interest to me with its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. This is an interesting... I found something relevant, Naruhodo? Well, no, I mean it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young princess, you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? Oh, is that... Miss Brett? I don't know, I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. It pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novice Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear this woman was in costume when she was found missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiaras you pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Mrs. Ottosson's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novier Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance to all ports and sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. Oh yeah, because this is during the, ooh. I'm not even going to dig that with a response. Oh yeah, that was kind of an asshole thing to say, Naruhodo. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on in Russia at this time, because this is the turn of the 20th century, remember, the 1900s, so this does make sense. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yeah, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see this man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright. The solution's obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interests. This matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? We detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exhilaration. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. But why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, right, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. Wait, what? You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that, too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you're the culprit, you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hiya! After Kaz spent his dying moments struggling to give us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I gotta love this. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Cosma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is that... something wrong, Naruhodo? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? Wait, is that the... It is! It's the undercover detective! I recognize that face, but it can't be. That is him. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hasanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew aboard the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yeah, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as, Asogi's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study to go ahead. And he entrusted me with the ensuring that Asogis reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said that we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. So, Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi on is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize, Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Cosmo's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If I moved you even touch the handle, if you moved even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? We're gonna need something persuasive. If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I could persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence. You presented me with a piece of evidence you already had in your possession. Evidence. It's just the same as when you're in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel. Choose some evidence the inspector could use. So evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin. Alright, yeah. I think I might know what we can use. Oh yeah, I can just present it. Okay, so I have to go here to present it. Maybe the revolutionary being here could help. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out your university-level linguistic talents, is that it? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you're trying to say? Sorry? I forget I mentioned it. What's that? It's Cosmo's diary. Just before he died, Cosmo wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That's strange. Yeah, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. What I'd like to know is... don't tell me. The ventilator, is that it? You're very astute, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right, if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain's given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really, you're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. Oh, but, what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment. Then, just like move and we can leave the cabin at last. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Cosmo is being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in the steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs, I imagine. Naruhodo, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Cosmo's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Ship section. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck, look. It's a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since God's created them. Well, I suppose so. Yeah, I guess that's an easy way to explain it to someone who doesn't know the concept of buoyancy. And this would definitely be around the time that widespread education starts becoming more common. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage is meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing, no reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. Not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. What's this? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells all over the ship. And it brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. What's this? Ah, mousetrap. Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan, too. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese. Wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really, but... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually gonna try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Cosmo's leftovers. You know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. And this is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosmo wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we, need to examine inside the cabin there. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors, although this man's version is definitely more effective. Doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass. That's a problem. I thought maybe we could look at that to find an alternate way in, but I guess not. I guess I should have realized that sooner. That's the way of the second-class area of the ship. Something wrong? I was just thinking about making a run for it just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door. Probably someone would surely shoot you dead. He doesn't have a gun on him, other than the two ones connected to the torso. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started with my talk of running away, and there's no way I could run away while Cosmo's death remains a mystery anyway. First class cabin number 1. Yeah, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, that's Cosmo's. Your accommodations can find the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? Small's the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You'll stowaway murderer. Well, that wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm sorry to trouble you, but could I ask something of you? You, third-class lady's maid. Oh, we seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day. I'm not sailor. My mom gave me name. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff. Phew, the best things to avoid combat, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about the last cabin air. Here we are in the finest part of the steamship. It is a very important person. Oh, what sorts? Government officials, kings, queens, traveling in secret. Many important persons. That's why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. Stroganoff is not animal. But thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Suzato, do you understand that? Sounded like da. Russian for yes. Oh, no. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without permission. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin, at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Well, first of all, let's ask him what happened last night. What he remembers last night. We're on tripping over my own words. We're on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff. All the time, so criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about what happened last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Air. Suzato, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear strange noises either. Since anything was wrong. I said no. I'm sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Could you tell us who was traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Astrogis? His name is Mr. Grimsby Rylot. Very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of the student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Rylot is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. Well, that was kind of harsh. Could you tell us when he came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now and been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman's occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh, that's fine. You've been very helpful. It's time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, all right. Bulkhead to second-class area, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles at the top of the mountain. Or as the English say, when the pigs fly. Yeah, yes, I understand him. Good, now we can investigate this area properly. Definitely. That book on top of the table really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's a ship's log. Have a little look through it. The writing's so neat and precise, every detail meticulous. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. The fact he insists nothing means something was going on, but he's not supposed to talk about it. This is it. This is the cab next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosima wrote that Speckled Band emerging. Maybe whoever is in there can help us solve that particular mystery. Let us ask. No answer. Wasn't the detective supposed to be in there? We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! High-pitched scream must have been a woman. Hold, stand back. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When it fits me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this much muscular urge? What can I kick? I think we should just go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Ninth of January, SS Buria, first class cabin number 2. Ooh, who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian. We heard a woman scream. Woman, don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person here, but in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Rylot. Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I am the great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the cover of popular magazines. So I assure you, may trust me completely. That man uses that magazine like a This man uses that magazine like a business card. Oh, detective. I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? God, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my, did you see that? Yes, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call steward. So this is Cosma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly sailor returns. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin, get out. Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. Ah, what a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do, I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Rylot. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You'd only address me as Sholmes. That's, what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. And it would seem the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Rylot, is clearly trying to hide something. What do you know is the most effective weapon used against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for Russians. Right. Can you imagine how they will react when a secret guard so closely to is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh, yes, please. Yeah, I'm probably about to say, I'm pretty sure that works on way more than just Russians. Well then, what you're about to see may as well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. I'm gonna get a drink because my throat is dry. Okay, that feels a lot better. Got a good sip. Right. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? No, that's kind of rude, don't you think? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of being Russian, or the Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on a first meeting, but I once read, it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Oh, be quiet, I must have a complete silence. Oh, what are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts, Mr. Rylot. I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Oh? And number two, the other conclusion I've drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you've been discovered. Is it not? Ah. Oh, Naruhodo, I never imagined I'd witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. Wait, that was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can do just all there is to know about a person. Wait, what? What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of the great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the colors drained from Mr. Rylott's face. It looks like somehow both of his conclusions were right. Oh, how could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word actually, but I know what I've seen it in written form, but I've never seen anyone actually say it, but it basically just means elaborate or explain. I shall explain how it is I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. But plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Old man's identity. Deduction. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Rylott, obviously what catches your eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away that copious beard. Now moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, the morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Rylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence reveals your true identity is the article of the Revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decide to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are a fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain. Not that I have heard of you myself, you understand. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing the most grievous crime. Shaving. And the proof of this crime is over there. Oh yes, Mr. Rylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah. And I assure you, eyes speak so much more than eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies with the furtive glance fails. Proof of your crime sits before the very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. This time, I think, the case shall be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coude betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your fugitive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equally found on the page of this newspaper, where there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prime ballerina of ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Her crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nicole Pavlova. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Eleminsky. Cesato, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, can you come here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing alike each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at that time, I believe I told you, the man's a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look a lot more like this man than you do. That's not the point, though. Another thing, the point about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear to be too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at a glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina's a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady's 15. Oh my, that is very young. And ballerinas are they are pretty good at, well, if she was a circus contortionist, that'd be a lot easier, but I'm not sure. At the very least, so you'd think just opening it would be able to prove that. She's 15, that's 10 years worth of her be poking out of the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness to their bodies. Vinegar? For a sour bunch, it would surely be simply the city itself to contort. Oh! So he does think she has contortionist skills. Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about his deductions just now. I think his powers are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic seem a little off. Your idea of a little, maybe a little off itself. It's just one or two keywords in his deductions that seem to let him down. I was wondering if perhaps we might tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords and deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I'm sure you can do that. We'll unlock the true genius of his great deduction. Precisely the thought I was going through my own head. This man's a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. I'm sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Wait, the cuffs are gone? Ah, where are your handcuffs? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you're a marvel. Well, at least I appreciate that. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we're finished. Oh, I'm not worried, in fact. I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches your eye in the first place. The enormous pair of shears. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want us? Hit us in the face. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either, which I suppose is why which means I suppose the deduction's wrong. Let's switch a keyword here and see if that helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. Wonder if it's really his beard they intend to use those on. Exactly. We might have to find something that seems to fit the sense of his deduction better. Then what? Then I'll leave the rest to your capable hands. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use the enormous shears for? copious beard. Thick hat. There's really not much else.
Yes!
The thick hat. For years, you've been on the run in your homeland, and that hat's never left your head. As a result, almost unbelievably, your thick beard has woven itself inextricably together with your hat. But now you have an itch, something you must reach it. That means cutting the hat off. What precisely was your intention with that? Just following the natural progression of the deductions. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you don't have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. There's not many things I can even select. If we look carefully enough, will give us a clue. Need to approach from every angle, consider all possibilities. That's easy to say, but alright, let's see if we can work it out. It wasn't his beard, what was the man thinking of cutting? Oh, I can rotate the room. It's not the... Golden locks.
Yes!
He has some golden locks he's hiding. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away those golden locks you sport. Indeed, you've identified the precise details intended to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. Wait, does that mean she's? You're not a man at all. You're a woman, judging by the length and sheen of your hair. One still very much in your youth. Oh, If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence that will shed light on the matter. It's because he's actually the ballerina herself. Evidence that reveals her true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the man was really a young woman disguised. You? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I'm sorry. You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. Hey, I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything, baka. This is strictly business. Yeah, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' reduction, shall we? The evidence he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott's actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has been taken a different direction now. Yeah, let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we understand them now. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. Feels as though I've read or heard about a situation like that recently. I'll do my best.
Yes!
Article about the ballerina. The evidence that reveals her true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we're finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the ballet's prime ballerina, Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Wah! Dang, that could have actually been really dangerous. So she's lucky it only hit the hat. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Golina Pavlova. Please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Ballerina on the run. Solved. Now the topic 2, their wrongdoing. Correction. Now as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova, taken unawares, people have the propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies in that where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yes, that traveling case. This woman's a ballerina and she's right in front of her eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right, it seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime she's apparently committing? I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruto. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyways, there must be something else here that shows what this woman's up to. Wastepaper basket. Wastepaper basket? Let's have a little look inside. Not a hodo, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Oh, those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. The tiara. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like. So she wasn't abducted. She stole the crown in order to sell it and start a new life. Try it on. Wait, me? It's not usually a girl who wears tiaras? Nonsense. Have you ever seen someone named Martha? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
It's only during this one that I noticed that you can actually examine things before accepting it. Proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in the newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone, and I need money. I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I'll tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Now, come, let us not be hasty. A what? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You've staunchly refused to open this traveling case for yourself in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to the life of crime, are we? Your carelessness betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refused to open your case is written on the books in the shelf. He completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholm is adapting his logic to changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely the reason why she doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. That's true, but still. She certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. There has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in that same area, if that's why her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze. The rules of passage. These are the rules of passage for traveling aboard the Espera. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. This is exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules? Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe. I mean, you'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I?
Yes!
She's keeping a pet in there. Yes, the reason why you refused to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects. Pets are also forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from the carriage on the vessel. That's the real reason you refused to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility. Inside her traveling case is your pet. The last item forbidden, a pet. Wrongdoing. Possession of a prohibited animal. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. Oh yeah. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Rylot. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links to your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if that was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, no other than this young lady. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man, I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut my hair as fastly as possible. So I picked up my scissors and... At At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside, my only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out... Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return... you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. It was something, alright, just not sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing. Oh yes, one more thing. No, I can't resist the Columbo reference, I'm sorry. Observe your wrists. My... Ah! Your hands! Are cuffed again! What? But how? True to my word, I restored your shackles. When and why? I guess there's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the Speckled Band that Cosmo wrote about really was. What happened last night? Alright, do you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. Man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh, that's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that happened. Miss Pavlova? Is there anything you can tell us? I don't know, I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovi Ballet. Yeah, I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I'll never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. That tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I have no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. That is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova. It creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well... yeah, of course. I think we should hear her explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... so the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? What type of creature is it? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell anyone. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you in the case overboard, no doubt. Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. What sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable rabbit? Ah, you credit Russia as a land of small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. I genuinely don't know if there are any breeds of rabbit that live in Russia naturally. You two are all miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Oh, is it? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call. Daily fresh eggs. The wake-up call is from a rooster. And roosters can't lay eggs. When adversity strikes, it satisfies the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll note to self. I'll have to remember that. It's a snake, isn't it? Well, it appears this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Oh, does this mean Cosmo's death was actually an accident? She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Alright, let's go with the conundrum first. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. Oh, so that's why the crewman's record of what happened last night was blank, because he needed to make sure that there was no record of her stowing aboard, so they could just pretend. And it was always there. Esbora stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant came aboard, this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. I'm sorry. It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here as well. I descended from the heavens because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said I can never... Right, they established in the last case that our protagonist, Renosuke here, can indeed speak English just fine. You know, which also explains why he can talk with Sholmes, even though he directly stated that he barely knows any Japanese. Mr. Sholmes once said, I can never resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to deduction. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. Oh, his diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads... 33. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 35, what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean anything to you, or the whistling sound, perhaps? No, I don't know anything. Oh, yeah. So it's her pet snake, and she whistled to call it. Or maybe to order it that it can come out. Oh, since no one's here. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. The captain would like to speak with you. You must come to captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Oh, get out. Set out, or do you want me to throw you out? Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. And so we lost our chance, having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlovia's cabin. We were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. I might actually have to start breaking the stream out during these times, because not only is this a perfectly good stopping point, but I don't want to go for another 4 to 6 hours in a single night. That's a bit too much for me. Alright, well I guess that'll be enough for now. Thank you for watching, hope you had a good time. I save my VODs for as long as Twitch allows, so if you ever need them, they'll be there. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.